Okay, now we will move along in that packet. This was the next problem we had before we left off, and follow along and take notes. That'll be your grade Monday, okay? All right, now this is just one fraction. On top there's no plus or minus, so we won't parenthesize that, but on the bottom there's a minus, so we need to put that expression in a parentheses, okay? All right, so if I have any kind of parentheses, we're going to need 3 of these bad boys, 3 lines. So 5x squared is not in a parentheses, so I'm just going to take that and carry it over here and then cross it out. Just cross it out, carry it over. Now this in a parentheses, I need to factor on my scratch paper. So I have 30x to the second power minus 25x. So there are 2 terms. So with 2, I would look for a greatest common factor. And then I will see if I have a difference of perfect squares. I probably won't. I might not, but at least I'm checking. Now, you need to, this one, GCF equals, and negative, no, but you have x on both, so you're going to want an x there. And then I would go to that GCF calculator I told you about yesterday. You just go to a Google. I can't type with one hand. So Google search GCF calculator and just click on the first link that comes up. Calculator Soup's a good one. So I want to enter in 30 and 25 and see what that's going to divide by. So 30, 25. Okay, it's 5. I got 5. So I'm going to put a 5 with that x. Okay, so I'm going to divide by out 5x, and then I will divide both of these by 5x. Now, 30 divided by 5 is equal to 6, and then x to the second divided by x would be just x, and then minus 25 divided by 5 is 5, and then these would cancel. Okay, now you have a difference, but 5's not on the board as a perfect square if you look up there. And not only that, the x isn't even to the second power, so it's not even close to adopts. So what I do is I cross this out, but I don't write that. I replace that with 5x and then a parentheses of 6x minus 5. Okay, now what do you have not in a parentheses on top? You have 5x to the second power. What do you have not in a parentheses on bottom? You got the 5x. So the 5's can just cancel. And that x is to the first down there, so I can take that away and then take 1 away from 2, and that's x to the 1. Okay? So the top numerator is x to the 1, or just x. And now you go look at your parentheses. You have 6x minus 5, but you don't have one of those on top, so you need to keep that. And it's on bottom, so parentheses 6x minus 5. That's simplest form. Okay, next problem. First off, look at the top of the one fraction. You have a plus there, so you need to parenthesize the top, and you have a plus here, so you parenthesize the bottom. So since there are parentheses, that would be 3 steps. Okay, so on top, 40x plus 20. We have 2 terms, so that would be looking for a GCF. And then I want to see if I have a difference of perfect squares. Okay, GCF, negative in front, no. Do you have x on both? No. So 40 and 20, let's take a look at that. So I go 40, 20, and it says the GCF is equal to 20, so it's 20, okay? So I pull 20 out, and then I'm going to go divide by 20. So 40 divided by 20 is 2 with an x still there. Then 20 divided by 20 is 1. Okay, that's not adopt, so we cross that out. So I go to my paper, and I cross this out, but instead of just bringing it over, I need to put 20 parentheses 2x plus 1. Okay, now the bottom, 10x plus 30. Okay, that's in a parentheses, so I need to check it for factoring. Okay, is 2 terms, so that would be the GCF. And then I would see if I have a difference of perfect squares. Okay, so GCF, do I have the negative in front? Nope. Do I have X on both? Nope. And then I'm going to check 10 and 30 on my GCF calculator, and it gets me out of 10. So the greatest common factor is 10, but not 10x. So 10 goes, and I divide by 10. So that's going to be 1 with x plus 3. And that is not a dot, so I cross it out. Okay, so I cross this out, but I'm going to replace it with 10 parentheses 1x plus 3. Okay, now outside parentheses on top, you have a 20, and you have a 10 out, not in parentheses on bottom. So we need to see if we can reduce 20 and 10. I do my GCF 20, comma 10. It gives me a GCF of 10, so I need to cross them both out and divide them by 10. So that becomes a 2, and that becomes a 1. So 2 and 1. And then I have a parentheses with 2x plus 1, but I don't have that same parentheses on bottom, so that's 2x plus 1 and 1x plus 3. Okay, next problem. Okay, on top of your fraction, you have a plus sign, so you need to parenthesize, and on bottom, you got plus signs, so you're going to need to parenthesize there as well. Okay. So, there are going to be 3 lines. Okay. So 2x to the second power plus 10x. GCF dops. GCF negative in front. No, you have x on both, and then 2 and 10. So 2, comma 10. Okay, that gave me 2. So 2x. So I pull out 2x, and then I will divide both of these by 2x. So that's 1 with an x plus 5 without x, which is not a dots. Okay? So I cross this out, and I put that, what I ended up with, 2x parentheses 1x plus 5. Okay, now the bottom, 3x to the second power plus 16x plus 5. Now that's a 3 term, so I would need a GCF if possible, and then a T table. So the GCF, negative in front, no. Do you have x on everything? Not with 5. And then you punch in these 3 numbers, 3, 16, and 5. Now that just gave me 1. Now if all you have is 1, that means you have no GCF. So cross it out. A, B, C. So I take A times C, and that's going to be 3 times 5. Now it's 15. It's positive. So I'm looking for a sum of 16. Okay, well that's not going to take long because 1 and 15. Now the 16 up there is plus, so you're going to have plus 15, and sum would mean they're the same, so plus 1. Now, a is not equal to 1 here. It's equal to 3x squared, so you're going to need 4 parentheses. Okay? And before you put xx, you're going to lead off with 3. Then plus 1, plus 15. Okay, now you can see what you're dividing by on your calculator. So 3 comma 1. Now it just gave me a 1, so that's still going to stay 3x plus 1, because dividing by 1 means you can't really do anything. So 3 and 15, 3 comma 15, I got 3. Okay, so I want to divide these by 3. 1x plus 5, 1x plus 5. Okay, so I'm going to cross that out, and I'm going to cross this out and replace it with 3x plus 1 times 1x plus 5. So parentheses of 3x plus 1 and a parentheses 1x plus 5. Okay, now outside all you have is 2x, and you don't have anything on top, so you can't really do anything to the 2x because there's nothing outside on bottom, so the 2x just goes down here. Now for parentheses, the 1x plus 5s can go away, but I still got that 3x plus 1 in parentheses, so that's your answer. Okay, you're going to love the next one. On top, I've got plus and minus, so I parenthesize, and on bottom, I got plus and minus, so parenthesize. So definitely need 3 here. Okay, yikes. X to the third minus 4x to the second plus 3x minus 12. Okay, so it's 4 terms. Okay, so 4 terms means I set up the grouping box. Remember how to set that up, parentheses plus parentheses, and then with the line outside. Line outside. Okay, and then a dots box. Because sometimes after grouping, after you get these two things, one of them's a dots, maybe, maybe not. Okay, so I'd put 1x to the third minus 4x to the second, and then 3x minus 12. And then I look to divide these. Now, I don't have a negative in front of either one. Here I have x on both, and to the second power being the smallest, so I put x to the second right there. And 1 and 4, go 1 comma 4. That's just a 1, so I'm not going to put anything down there. Now, again here, I don't have x on both, so don't put x, and then 3 and 12. So 3 comma 12, and that is 3. Okay, now whatever I'm dividing by is pulled out, so I'm dividing by x to the second power here, and I'm dividing by 3 right here. So that's going to be 1x, and then minus 4. Okay, and this will be the same thing, 1x minus 4. So I have identical parentheses of 1x minus 4, so I will be putting the expression 1x minus 4 there and parenthesizing it. And then I have x to the second power plus 3. Okay, now do you have a dots? You only have a minus here, and that's true. 4 is 2 times 2, but the x is not to the second power, so there is no dots. Okay, so I will be crossing this out and replacing it with parentheses of 1x minus 4 and a parentheses of x to the second power plus 3. Okay, and then this one here, a little bit easier because it only has 3 terms. So there's 3 terms, so GCF and the old T-chart. So GCF, negative in front, no. You got X on everything, no. 1, it's going to be no. Whenever 1's one of the numbers, it's good. So 1 times positive 8 is positive 8. So sum needs to add up to 6. 1 and 8, nope. 2 and 4, yep. So 6 being minus means 4's minus and 2's minus. And a is equal to 1x squared, so I just need 2 parentheses, and there was no GCF. So it's going to be xx minus 2 minus 4. So cross that out and put these 2 parentheses. So parentheses x minus 2 and x minus 4. Okay, so you don't have anything outside you have to worry about, and nothing outside here, so we're going to skip this. Now, 1x minus 4 and x minus 4 are the same thing because there'd both be 1s there, so they would cross out, but these would be left. So I would have parentheses x to the second power plus 3 and a parentheses of x minus 2. Okay, 4 left. Number 1, okay, so do you have a plus or minus there? Nope. Do you have a plus or minus here? Nope. Here? Here? Nope. So there's only 2 lines instead of 3. So on the top, I say, okay, 6 times 2 would give me 12, and x to the second. And then y times y would be y to the second. Okay? And on bottom, I have a 9. And then x times x third would be x to the fourth, and then y to the second. Okay? Now, 12 and 9, we want to see what we can divide those by, what common factor we can divide those by. So 12, 9, and I get a GCF of 3. So I'm going to cross them out and divide both by 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3 divided by 3 is 3. So I have 4, 3. X second goes away, and I take 2 away from 4, and that becomes x to the second, but that would be on the bottom. It always ends up on the side that the larger exponent was on. And these just go bye-bye because they're the same. That's your answer. Okay, number 2. Number 2 is a treat. Okay. Put a 1 there. But you have minuses. Okay. Here I have pluses. This one's confusing. Good thing we have it right there. Okay, so I've got 2x to the second minus 1x minus 6. So that's 3. And by the way, you'll need 3 lines here instead of 2. Okay, so that would be GCF and T-chart. GCF is going to be no. Because ones, you don't have negative, not x on everything, and you have a 1 in there. Okay, now I take 2 times negative 6. That's negative 12. So I'm searching for a difference of 1. Nope. 2 and 6. Nope. 12 divided by 3 is 4. There it is. Okay. So the 4 needs to be minus in front of it, and the difference will be plus. Okay. Now a is not 1 here. It's 2x a second, so we're going to need to make 4. So 2 x plus 3 minus 4. Okay, 2 comma 3. Let's see if we can divide those down. Nope, because the GCF's 1, so that'll stay 2x plus 3. Okay, 2 comma 4, you're going to get 2. So it's 1x minus 2. So I cross this out and replace it with a parentheses of 2x plus 3 and a parentheses of 1x minus 2. Okay, now this one here is kind of interesting. X to the second power plus x. And you can put 1s in front of those, so it's 2 terms. GCF and DOPS. Okay, GCF, you got x on both, so x for sure, but 1 and 1 don't really have a GCF. All right, so I'm going to put x. I'll divide by x. So that's just going to be a 1 with an x plus 1, and those cancel, and that's not a DOPS, so cross it out, and you'll put x parentheses 1x plus 1. Okay, now 2x to the second plus 5x plus 3. Okay. So 3 terms. GCF and the T-chart. GCF, negative in front, nope. X on everything, nope. Okay, 2, 5, and 3, if you punch that in, I got a GCF of 1, so that means no GCF, because dividing by a 1 would just be a waste of time. Okay, so I take A times C, again, 2 times 3, and that's positive 6 positive. So sum of 5. Remember, it's got to add to 5, not subtract. So it's not 1 and 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and that is it. So 5 is plus, so 3 has to be plus, and it's a sum, so they have to be the same. Okay, now a is not equal to 1, it's equal to 2. So I would definitely need 4 parentheses to factor it correctly. So I lead off with 2, 2, x, x, and then plus 2, plus 3. Now, if you have the same number, you need to divide by that number 2. So that becomes 1x plus 1. And 2 comma 3 gives me a GCF of 1. So 2, 3. So if it's 1, we're just going to keep it the same. Okay, so I have a parentheses with 1x plus 1, and then a parentheses 2x plus 3. Okay, and then the last one, we're not cross it out, and now we still got x to the second minus 4. So there's 2 terms, so that would be a GCF, and then adopts, question mark. GCF, you are not going to have one. And this is going to be adopts because I have a minus, and I know that that's 2 times 2, and the x is to the second power, and we got a 1. 1 times 1, 1x times 1x. Okay, so 1x2, 1x2. So cross that out. I have parentheses of 1x plus 2, parentheses 1x minus 2. So on top, I have an x. Okay, do I have that on bottom? No. So I can't really do anything with the x other than know it's going to be in the answer. So I've got 2x plus 3. Do I have that on bottom? Yep. I have 1x minus 2. Do I have that on bottom? Yep, right here. I have 1x plus 1. I have that on bottom. And the only thing I have left is a parentheses of 1x plus 2. What's up? Yep. 205 West 9th Street.
Thank you. I just need
here in town.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, and then the third problem, I've got 6x to the second plus 1x minus 1. Obviously, you got plus minus. X to the second minus 4x minus 4, obviously plus minus. And right here. And right here. That's so not fun. Okay, now I need a new piece of scratch paper. If you guys need extra scratch paper, I'm going to set the sheets of orange paper up there, okay, if you run out. Okay, so I've got 6x to the power of 2 plus 1x minus 1. So that's 3 terms. So GCF and the table. So GCF, negative in front, nope. X on everything, nope. And there'd be none. Okay, because 1. Okay, 6 times negative 1, that would give me negative 6. So a difference of 1. 1 and 6, no. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Yep, that's 1. Okay. So I got plus 1x, so we'd have plus 3, and it's a difference, so they have to be opposite. Now, a here is equal to 6x squared, so I'm going to want 4 parentheses. So 6 x minus 2 plus 3. So 6 and 2, okay, GCF 6, comma 2, and you get 2. So we'll divide these by 2, and that's 3x minus 1. Okay, 6 and 3. So 3, and you can divide these by 3. That's 2x plus 1. Okay, so I cross this out and replace it with 3x minus 1 and 2x plus 1. Okay, now right here I have x to the second minus 4x minus 5. Okay, so 3 terms, so that would be GCF and the t table. Okay, GCF, you will have nothing, so no. So I take 1 times -5, and that's 5 negative, so difference of 4 is what we have to get. 1 and 5, there it is. Now 4 is minus, so minus and difference is plus. Okay, now A is definitely just a 1 here, so XX plus 1 minus 5. Okay, so I have a parentheses x plus 1 and a parentheses of x minus 5. Okay, now on bottom we have 4x to the third plus 4x to the second. Now, this is interesting, okay, GCF and DOPS. Okay, GCF, do I have a negative in front? Nope. We have x on both, but x second is the one we want to go with, okay? And then when I have the same number, I need to take that number as the GCF. So I have 4x to the second, and then I will divide by 4x to the second under both, okay? So that's 1 with x plus 1. That cancels, and that's not a DOPS. So I cross that out, and that is replaced with 4x to the second, parentheses 1x plus 1. And then I have 6x to the second minus 2x. So 2 terms, GCF and DOPS. GCF, you got a negative? Nope. You have x on both? Sure. 6 and 2, GCF is 2. So 2x is brought out. And 6 divided by 2 is 3 with x left over. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, not a DOPS, so we have cross that out and replace it with 2x, parentheses 3x minus 1. Okay, now you don't have anything on top outside. On bottom, you have a 4x to the second, and then I put a dot because there's also a 2x. Now, 4 times 2 is 8, okay? And then the x second and the x would make x to the third, okay? So 8x to the third ends up on bottom. Now, I got a lot of parentheses. 3x minus 1, 3x minus 1, x plus 1. 1x plus 1, those are the same thing. And I end up with a parentheses with 2x plus 1 on the top, and a parentheses with x minus 5 on the top. Okay, and then the last problem. On top, right here, bottom, right here. That would not get parenthesized, okay? So I would need 3. So I have x to the second minus 4x minus 42. Okay, so 3 terms, GCF and the T chart. GCF, there would be none. A times C, so 1 times negative 42 is negative 42. Difference of 4. 1 and 42, nope. 42 divided by 2 is 21, nope. 42 divided by 3 is 14, nope. 42 divided by 4 is, let me think. No, that doesn't work. 42, I think I wrote a problem here that cannot factor, so when that happens, and by the way, you're like, well, you just use a song. No, I'm not going to use a song because my job is not to find the 2 answers for x, okay? So we're going to cross that problem out and have a good day. I hope it has been informative, and until next time.